Hey, bitch! I said the stream's live.
I'm waiting to see it on my screen.
Oh, okay. This is going in the VOD, by the
So
way.
we're watching an ad.
Oh. Can't relate. I haven't seen an ad in like 2 years. And by 2, I mean like 7.
This is a long ass ad.
Alright, I'm gonna separate the VOD once you confirm, and then fuck that. Motherfucker.
You can take 2 seconds to cut out 30 seconds of a VOD.
Does it
It'll
let
be alright.
you clip it before you upload it?
On YouTube?
I'm not gonna download the VOD. It uploads directly from Twitch.
Oh, whatever. Who cares? Alright. Hi, and welcome to New England NEL5R. This is our third and hopefully long-running series of video review of our games from our Discord League. I'm Eric with my co-host Luis.
Hello.
And our guest host for this game is Derek.
Hello.
Hey, Derek is a really good local Lion player. I know we have another Phoenix game, which I'm sure people are ready for new clans, but this is what we got and we're rolling with it.
We are absolutely rolling with it. Also, Phoenix there's a lot of build diversity, so we're not always seeing the same thing, even though this is still...
That's true. We've had 2 Phoenix games, but they were both very different.
Very, very different. So,
all right,
Derek, what do you think? Let's say, just before we hop into it, what are some crucial cards for Lion in the matchup? Do you feel anything really stands out as really being game winning, or at least helping to push for that?
Sure. I think this is one of the matchups where Let Go is the most important. I know that's not a Lion card, but
right.
Phoenix can basically always hit the Cloud the Mind. There's always a Shugenja somewhere, and they're particularly weak to like some early aggression because their characters are so expensive. So if they fail to slow, so if they fail to slow you down with Cloud the Mind, if you have to let go immediately, sometimes it's just a total blowout with Uchiaki or Lion's Prep Brawler.
Yeah, I was thinking, the Cloud is so brutal against Lion. I mean, hitting an Uchiaki or hitting a Spirit Caller can nullify entire turns, and that's pretty rough.
Yeah, Spirit Caller in this matchup is tough because with
Derek might be the most anti-Spirit Caller Lion player of all
against
time.
The waves.
So.
Against the waves kills it though, and it is the only target.
Yeah, it's basically the only target. If they're playing the box that recurs it, like you usually buy a Spirit Caller just to like eat it, but you never fade them
as because they say.
Yeah, but you can never fade it. It's just too much of like a tempo swing.
It's kind of like
even if you
hand, like if they don't have it, you win, and if they do have it, then you have to force it somehow.
Right. And like if you have the ready for battle, like forcing their box to recur it to actually tap you down is sometimes like all right. But again, like I don't think you can fade Spirit Callers in this matchup.
That's actually true. If they wait until the middle of the conflict to do the Against the Waves as well, you can react with the ready for battle and then immediately trigger before they have another action window.
It's true. I usually Phoenix players don't do that because of that reason.
Yeah, right.
There's always the opportunity to potentially catch a misplay.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so like good value, like you said. I mean, they don't always have Against the Waves as long as you check their discard pile first. Yeah. Sometimes you can just have these huge turns.
All right, so let's. I'm gonna give the video a quick start, and we'll talk about.
Crank it up speed. Yeah, that looks like the speed's already cranked. Cool.
Speed's up. So, what do you think the Lion player is gonna be looking for here on the flop?
Not that.
Definitely not.
Yeah, this is too expensive. You might keep like something to charge and mull hard for it.
Yeah,
but
he ripped it all away. Oh, and we get spoiled on what his splash is already.
Yep.
He kept both displays.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I'd consider keeping one.
I have a weird
feeling
this is already sped up.
Strength and numbers as well is it's a card that I think is all right, but against Phoenix it's a little dicey sometimes because the glory is so high.
Yeah.
Especially early, like late in the game, you might have a swarm that can get through it, but like so early, it's just dead.
And as far as fate management goes for Lion, I'd be lying if I said I had. I'd be lying. Haha, fuck me. I'd be lying if I said I had much experience here. Like, do you tend to?
Oh, let's pause it for a second before we get into the bid.
Right.
We wanted to talk about like what a turn one strategy is, and he just talked about fate management, and that's a really important thing that I want to talk about some. Like how. First of all, let's just talk about like what fate management is, but But then also, let's talk about specifically when you're trying to play aggressively and have trouble passing, like, how do you manage your fate?
Man, that is a question for a much better player than I am.
Well, I mean, we work with what we got in the community. Nobody here is gonna be blowing anybody's socks off, but
Yeah, so if I was on like Dragon Splash or something, I would be more comfortable fading some of your big characters with high impact abilities. Something like this Line Spy Brawler that we're looking at.
Sure.
On Phoenix Splash, it's really tough. I don't know if you could fade that more than once. The other thing that was done here that I'm not sure about is this Gunso.
Right.
Assuming that this is someone I haven't played before, so I don't know the provinces. There's a potential for Kunimori and Rally over there.
Right.
And Gunso is just dead to both of those things.
this is Mike. You know Mike.
Sure. I haven't played him in a while, so I'm not
Right,
sure.
It's not in a vacuum, though.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. So, like this Gunso, if it hits either of those things, it's going to be blank the rest of the time it's in play.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to win a political conflict with it. So I
Right.
think that's a little scary. If you're playing it, you could buy it because I think that's what he flipped into this Line Spy Brawler.
He flipped it in the Spirit Caller, actually.
Oh, the Spirit Caller. Yeah. So maybe you buy the Gunso and the LPB, and maybe not Fate either. Then you have 2 Fate. Maybe you can pass first against this because he's probably not because his opponent's about to pass.
Mike has already passed. They've already bid,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
so-
yeah.
But I'm thinking at the time.
Right.
But yeah, I think you get 2 buys. Maybe don't fade anything. Look for a charge for your Honor General.
Stuck on second. It's hard to
The flop
get that when you're
also-
playing things like Gunso and Samurais.
Having
Especially
not
with
seen his list, the flop seems a bit heavy, I guess. Even with the Gunso and the one drop, like it still seems like you don't necessarily want to flop like an Honor General turn one without charge in hand, LPB without buying it, for example. Like it's just kind of an awkward spot.
I mean, mathematically, the community has talked about how we don't really want to be flopping Honor Generals at all in HMT unless you're on Crane Splash, but that's something else to get into at a different time.
Right.
But I don't know. I think this is a solid play. I think Samurai Steadfast Sam or whatever he's called is a better card than people were giving him credit for.
He's a
Yeah.
This isn't going to be a box turn though. We can say that.
Yeah, we'd have to draw like some pumps and a character for the box, and so that's asking a lot. Might happen, but it's asking a lot.
So, speaking of, not that it's hugely in effect right now as far as keepers go, but we're looking at an unfaded guy turn 1. After
Yeah, Mike's going first. He's going to covert the gun.
He's gonna covert the gun.
Or covert the Samurai.
Yeah, and then swing water.
Lock him down. This is Mike's favorite opener of all time. It's pretty much any Phoenix's dream opener, honestly.
Yeah, doesn't get much better
In this
than
matchup.
So it's definitely I'm not gonna call it a misplay, but I'm wondering what the outcome here is, other than that Steadfast Samurai almost guaranteed being bowed. He kept the displays, and maybe he just wants to display a water ring, but that's not doing anything for him.
It's still stinky. Yeah, Suki still gets honored.
That's
like
miserable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Displaying the water ring there would be miserable as hell. So I'm not sure.
I mean,
not
he
really
can.
sure what the intent is.
He has the ready for battle, but it's still kind of ugly. And
Yeah,
with
it's not like
the
an
waves
impactful
of
ready
points-
for battle right now.
no, it's not. And the display is not being able to target anything. It's just bad.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
Let's see what they draw.
See what their bid is. I mean, their bid's very, very likely to just be 5-5. Yeah, of course. Okay, I'm gonna be honest.
Some
I
interesting
don't
cards.
recognize that card because
That is
I've never
wholeness
seen
of the
it.
world. It says reaction when you would give a ring back to the pool at the end of the turn, you keep it instead.
Right. That's
Not
very
sure what
weird.
it's for, but you can deny water rings against the keeper.
I mean, that's surprisingly enough, it's not the most miserable thing in the world.
It actually could be though, because if you wholeness of the world at the end of the turn and then they flop into a
Raging
prodigy,
Battleground. Yeah, it's guaranteed.
yeah,
So he's running Raging Battleground, which
I
believe that's
The other
new
problem
one.
with it is, yeah, and it just has no targets here. I really don't
Yeah.
like that card.
it's not It's a void province
It's a
that
void
isn't shameful or
province.
pilgrimage, so
Yeah.
it's already
You
up
could
against
stop
some of the
there,
best
and
things in the
even then
game.
it's
Yeah,
already kind of lackluster. Although I do think like the card had some amount of potential until they slapped void on it, and even then that potential
sure.
was low.
Yeah,
I just wanted to talk about Wholeness of the World real quick too.
Yeah, go ahead.
The other problem with playing it in HMT specifically is that you can't declare a conflict if there are no rings left, and so
Ooh, wow, yeah.
it can be awkward.
Oh
if
wow.
Can you use that to deny if you're going first? No, right?
No, your opponent
Yeah.
would go.
Yeah, that's kind of actually a non-bow when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like swinging hard into water with a feral.
Yeah, and this province is blank for all intents and purposes. So
we are gonna
he
display the water.
He is displaying the water. I don't like it even the tiniest bit, but I guess he wants to at least attempt to.
What just happened?
It broke.
yeah, it broke. He displayed it, but there's, I mean,
Yeah, the
he's
Neo
gonna
isn't
tap something. It's leaving.
Oh,
play.
okay. It just lit up for him to display again if he wanted to, which confused me.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what happened.
Okay, he doesn't actually have the ability to threaten 2 breaks here.
I mean, Suki is now a 3 military.
Yeah, and well, there's no way he threatens 2 breaks here. Period. And even if Mike allows it, which I think actually even allowing the
not
line to play
defending.
out their turn is still the best play here because Phoenix can just break another province.
Yeah, sure. I mean, he's really everybody is just swinging for the fences in this game.
It's the nature of Lion and Unicorn to an extent right now. And
I don't
this
know.
isn't
I
like
disagree a little bit, but
well, this is I just mean not swinging for the fences, but not even to pick apart his playstyle, but rather he wants to go for the aggressive start, and he has to like hemorrhage all these resources to do so. And it
the
kinda happens-
steadfast samurai got hawked in, so we might as well sack it to HMT.
pretty interactive.
Oh, okay. Well,
There
Guess
was
not.
no possibility of a second one. I mean,
right, but there's no reason not to either. You could at least make your opponent think about it.
yeah, fair. At least represent something.
You could
Although,
have
I
a
think
reservist
here-
in hand.
Even with a reservist in hand, dude, the Suki just takes the free break 100% of the time.
No, I agree.
I mean, he could drop the Aegis Crown.
There's no
It's
point to not make your opponent
guaranteed
think
break.
about more things. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, of course. So you could drop the Crone here and prevent the break if he feels like it. I don't think that's the right move. But
What
it
province
is.
are we on? Meditations.
Yep.
Oh,
the thing
that's
is,
sweet.
the thing is, Mike is sitting on 1 fate anyways. So on the off chance he has a 0 fate impactful card, then the Crone doesn't really accomplish much besides forcing a fate.
Don't
This
think we want to use Crone to defend, really.
Right.
No, I don't
agree.
think so either. This is a manicured. I think it's better to, yeah, for sure, like swing back.
Oh, it's manicured. Oh, okay. Oh, we broke Meditations. I thought we hit Meditations. Which would have been pretty crazy as Keeper of Fire to have Meditations, but... I mean, we've seen Raging Battleground, Wholeness of the World, so... Anything's on the table right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
Like,
that's
spend
why
his
the
one
Crone
money on
there
Shrine Maiden,
is
yeah.
painful because now you're down a card. He gets the reaction off Shrine Maiden existing. It'd be that way. Gets an against the waves. Further, like now there's actually not a reason to even bother with Spirit Caller because you know he has it in the first place. It's just a dead card.
Yeah.
Like him even having that card for sure, I think makes the Spirit Caller just never an investment you make.
This is tough here too because by trying to defend, we lost the favor. No, we do have the 1, 2 to the 1. Okay, so we got the favor, which is important.
The display gives us the favor, yeah.
Yep.
We spent 2 money for the favor, which
And he's,
against Phoenix is not actually that awful.
he's keeping the
And
water
he's
ring.
doing our cheeky little thing of keeping the water ring, which
I
could
think.
blow up in his face if we flop a Prodigy here.
If we flip an Ujiaki, it'd be pretty good though.
Ooh.
Sure would, but we did
You
not.
do not like to see this kind of thing happen.
Yeah.
Especially because there's a very real possibility that Mike pivots here, knowing that his opponent's hand is extremely, extremely low. I don't think there's a need to do so, but it is something to keep in mind.
A 3-bid, especially when you have the library already, is a
Yeah.
great...
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
smart.
Drew
Smart
calls
3-bid
it out,
on-
which is nice, yeah.
Very smart.
Ooh, and
Ooh.
Mike calls out the 3-bid with a 2-bid.
Well,
So we hit two impactful conflict characters here, and we hit an assassination. So
let's
the Lion player's hand improved quite a bit from that.
For
the
sure.
Reservist is such a. It may not be in a vacuum an all-star card, but in the context of Lion, that card is such a key role player. I think really good card.
I disagree that it is not an all-star card at all.
Sometimes it's ugly to play it if you don't have a ring yet and it's early in the turn, but the wholeness is actually going to loop back around and help us here because it starts the turn at 3 military.
Right, and I maybe I'm overvaluing a 1-mana 1/1 conflict character, but
I don't think you are. Like I totally understand where you're coming from.
No, I think it's quite good. I think it's just sometimes awkward.
And we see Vengeful Oathkeeper. I'd be again lying if I said I remembered exactly. Is that the one after you?
If you lose a military conflict, you get to drop him into play for free.
Got it.
I've always been a big fan of this card. Most people are not.
It's just hedging your bets. I mean,
it requires.
It's a guy.
It can put, but it does put a bit of the turn outside of your control. Like, if your opponent is going second and doesn't do his military conflict until his second conflict, you have no place to play your own Oathkeeper. You know, it could be, yeah.
I was gonna say HMT gets around that a little bit by giving you that extra conflict at the end, but it's still a little bit awkward. I like it here though because we probably can't contest whatever this Gisei Toshi goes for,
right?
Because it blanks everything in the line deck.
Yeah.
Except display of power.
Woo. So spicy. So spicy.
No charges on turn 1 and 2 is also totally hurt because this game would be a lot different with a charge.
Yeah, 2 honor generals in play, chilling.
Well, there would have been an honor general probably first turn, but yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna.
And that 2-bid wouldn't have killed the obstinate recruit.
On the bright side, now he I mean, it's obviously annoying to have your obstinate recruit get pooped on, but he top decked he drew into the assassination.
Our opponent
so.
Our opponent discarded X number of cards to kill our 0-cost guy. Like it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
I'd like it a lot better if we had just hit the 5 and just let our opponent get behind in cards.
Yeah.
Yep.
That would make this assassination way less playable though, so it kind of worked out.
So Library on Manicured, which is probably best case scenario for Lion right now.
Oh, for the Lion player, sure.
Yeah, for the Lion player. Like, I mean, if you're trying to break that library, I don't believe there's going to be a better province to hit after you've already broken Meditations.
Yeah, and all of a sudden with that assassinate, Mike's board goes into like kind of a sketchy place where our 2 conflict characters are super live.
Although
Mike's like out of money too, so
hitting Cloud and Clarity of Purpose is pretty.
Yeah, that was a great Shrine Maiden.
Yeah,
we are
fantastic.
Passing our box though.
I think that makes sense.
Well, obviously, but we could have. The only way we could box there is by throwing a guy into sack to it. So.
Yeah. So now we know that Mike is holding a Cloud and an Against the Waves, which I think really puts a bit of a choke.
If Mike goes military here, that's actually great for the Lion player. Wow. Yeah. Choosing to go military instead of pull. I
mean, it may be telegraphing some amount of pumps.
Interesting. We're defending the Art of War.
I think he might be a little concerned about the next couple turns.
Yeah, the next turn could be really ugly with the Gisei Toshi and going straight for the box. And Mike will be first.
Mike will be first, yeah. Mike is up a lot of cards though. He's dumping a lot of stuff into conflicts.
Yeah, I'm not liking this.
If we were gonna commit to the Katana, we might have wanted to fade our guy.
That was
with the Void Ring off the table.
I thought that we were going to. I was surprised that we didn't.
That just having the
please don't spend anything
be
else.
clouded just to win is just a very interesting line of play.
So the military that we talked about now is letting us play this for free to get in a poke.
Yep. Seven honor on Drew's side though, so his hand next turn is also again probably not looking very good.
Well, we can air ring to get the money and gain 2. probably better than going for an Earth Ring just because of the money.
It is, for sure. There's also the chance, I mean, you know one of his 10 cards, which isn't...
Right.
It's a non-zero chance. This is the part where you feel bad about not having a pole pump.
3X
One
Ornate
chance you
fans
had.
usually.
It's unfortunate, but...
Yeah, we've only seen we drew 3, and then before that 5. So we've only seen 12 cards. It could just be that we haven't.
Mike is against the waves in the middle of the conflict.
So he
Seems like
probably
a
goes
misplay.
and breaks Demonstrating Excellence? No, we've seen the Air Province.
The
sure.
last one is Feast.
Oh, right. Keeper Fire.
So Mike will
Yeah.
hopefully recognize that and not attack the Feast or
Yeah,
Famine.
yeah, he breaks the Art of War. Kind of
Puts them
space on the
even
board.
on. That puts them even on cards again, though.
He clicked on it.
He thought about it.
Oh,
He thought about it.
oh, wow, that was real close.
Yeah, that would have actually been just ultra backbreaking there. Eric had a bit of an aneurysm.
And
Does he
what are we?
display this? I
This is
kind
the
of think
air.
he does display this air
I-
ring.
I think that maybe is correct.
Oh, it's Art of War broken actually. It's
Yeah, we're just
he
gonna
doesn't need
take
to.
the cards.
Yep. I am failing to analyze right now. Apparently, all things considered, I think
I
this
like
game
Mike's-
isn't actually too brutal right now.
I like Mike's position much more.
Gisei Toshi
Going
is
first.
brutal, absolutely. Brutal.
Yeah, even if we flip something good, to use on our way of the line, which maybe the guns will
so-
find something.
Mike's not winning military conflicts this turn at the very least. Although an assassinate for the Toshiro probably just ends the game.
Just slap a Prodigy on the board and... Okay.
He's still got 7 money to play with, although I...
Do we go fishing with the Gunso, or...
I think we have to.
Right. We did not find what we
Possibly the
wanted.
worst hit. Like, I don't know the list, but I do struggle to think of something that could be worse to hit in this situation than a Keeper Initiate. Chooses to get the Tactician over Toshiro. I kind of like Toshiro being able to hedge your bets. Just being able to stave off...
Well, he's not going to attack whole, or he's not going to attack military, right?
Well, he's got 2 conflicts.
Right, but this first conflict is going at your box.
Yes.
Yeah, our line player has 5. Can't play any cards during it. What's his opponent on?
We claimed Earth Ring as for Master. Love the stand your ground. Spicy.
Yeah, that card's really good. In my opinion.
Eh,
It's rough to draw early.
it's fringe playable. Again, only playable in builds with Honor General.
Yeah.
And we're on Ancestral Lands. We did not get lucky.
Yeah,
Well,
Mike
Mike-
called that correctly.
I mean, it's a lose-lose because you're activating the Lion's mill buffs, right?
He's really
But-
hedging his bets here on the...
He's all in on defending with this one guy,
Yeah.
and it's passed.
And then the Ningyo is...
Ningyo gets us to 12.
Wait, did he say Toshi on the Earth Ring?
He did
And he
Gisei
swung
Toshi
water.
Earth and then swung water. Interesting. That might have just been a mistake. Or Hurricane punching.
Yeah. Now there's this.
Does break. Way of the Lion brings us out of break. Yeah. Another
Another
fish
Ningyo.
boy. So if Mike Gisei Toshi'd correctly,
This is a lockout.
there's no way he wins, right?
Yeah, seems like a really strange misplay. Maybe... I don't know.
Because this bonsai's not playable, this way is not playable.
No, for sure. I wonder if he
Wow.
misclicked, misplayed, or just spaced out.
I think he picked the Earth Ring and then after thinking about it, realized
that Ningyo is...
he's missing 6 power and said it's too late.
But the thing is, you're missing 6 power, but you just look at what's on board.
What do you mean?
He could have raw bought one of those Ningyos if he could have locked out
Sure.
the events in the Earth Ring.
Right.
It doesn't even matter if he's missing 3 power from a Water Ningyo for free.
Maybe he needed more the money for something else. I don't know.
I
We're
don't
working with the Lion player's hand, so
Right.
That's a huge amount to invest in this conflict too. So
yeah, that is rough. All of a sudden, the Lion player is actually in an okay spot.
Yeah, this could go the other way in a hurry.
Absolutely.
It's not crazy to say that the Lion player could break 2 provinces.
It's interesting to see 2 just excessively blitzy decks go against each other like this.
Right, and this is the aggressive Phoenix deck to an extent.
No, for sure.
Yeah. It plays more big guys than your average aggressive deck would, but that's just because so much of the power in Phoenix is
4 drops.
pulled up in the 4 and 5 slot. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say specifically the 4 slot. The only 5
It's
slots
2 and 4 are
is
their
to
power
have
cards, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some people play Kaido.
Which
but those people are wrong.
unfortunately isn't the best costs to have in this game, but
Yep.
you know, you usually want your power hold in your 1 and 3s, if possible.
There's Upholding Authority. Gets double ready for battle if he breaks. Although I'm not sure that's the worst thing in the world. Like,
Right.
There's
The
I don't-
Water Ring is already claimed. We have no Shugenja for Against the Waves.
I'm not saying that was the pick. I'm just saying that's
Right.
the value.
That is one of the doubles, yeah. And we're gonna break it.
Yeah, of course.
We have to. We pass. What?
Yeah, Mike is displaying here.
Yeah, it's breaking. The Gunso is on.
Maybe drains out his
Yeah,
opponent.
but-
His opponent's on 2.
If we pump to break, we can sacrifice our Honor General and get another attack.
How does he manage a break though?
Yeah, good point. I thought he had
Just
more.
'cause I
thought
thought
he had more
fire
numbers in his hand.
watering.
His hand for 9 cards in a Lion deck is actually surprisingly low on numbers.
Yeah, he did have to invest a solid chunk into defending, but I mean,
If
it was still a good.
well,
investment.
yeah. If Drew watches this game, you know something to think about in your deck construction is these HMT Lion decks. Your cards have to have numbers printed on them. A vast majority of them, at least. Maybe Derek can talk more to that.
Oh yeah. When I first started trying to build HMT, like you try and get cute and include some of
Right.
those other cards, and you just can't. Like,
I mean, that's L5R deck building in a nutshell. It's just even more so in this.
yeah, once you have like a full set of bonsai and like you know, a lot of people try and do like 2 bonsai because you can't play them in the same conflict, but HMT gives you a second military conflict to use it. You know, you want all your Legion of Ones. Some people, like I'm even playing Fine Katana.
Right.
Just play every pump.
Things like trying to fit things like Stand Your Ground, while they can be situationally extremely powerful, may not be better than just something that says plus a number.
Plus a number in that particular situation was quite crucial. Although this.
So our board sticks a lot better, and we're
Yeah.
first, I
Going
believe,
first.
going for the box.
This, all of a sudden,
I really think
we're
that,
on 1 honor. But
That's okay.
I really think Mike's Gisei Toshi there was just
Yeah.
really ugly.
Yeah, I think he threw the game there. I actually completely think he threw the game.
I don't think there's anything to think about, right? We did the math, like
Yeah, no, he absolutely.
it just
threw the game.
was.
So I think he swings air here because with Tatori he'll at least go to 5.
On the chance he doesn't
fails.
break the box.
Yeah.
Mike's only out as the 1x as a 1x contingency plan to kill him in draw phase.
What if? What?
The
No,
fan's a dead
boxes-
draw at least.
Boxes before ring, right? Or breaks before ring.
Yes, you'd have to
Yeah.
sack before. That's the question.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you sack Taturi to your box, you cannot double resolve.
Or I was thinking of display of power. Because he's at 1, but
Sure,
if the
yeah.
province breaks before display, then moot point.
Whoa. This is so ballsy.
Yo, the call out?
I mean, it was actually correct, but wow.
Oh, he Aegis Crones here, throws on a fan, and he's like,
Well, I mean,
can't
he has
display.
to ping the rally.
Yeah. No, I'm
Which,
saying like in this particular.
If we had
context.
taken a second to step back and look at Mike's province row, we would know that it's rally. I don't know if you
We're
guys
new
did, but
here,
I didn't think
folks.
about
Please
it.
be nice.
No.
We don't
Like,
play this game actually. We just talk shit about it.
So I will say that as Lion, it's something that in the game I do all the time. You have to know what you're swinging into.
Right.
If you swing a berserker into a rally, like you can just lose on the spot.
Well, and usually, I've spoken about this with a lot of people. Most people will take that rally and shove it onto their row, just to try and catch a Lion player.
Right. So in the game is something I definitely do. I think we're trying to like keep up with the game that we're not playing, and so I think that's how we kind of like missed it. But like,
and we're talking about other stuff.
Yeah, but in the game, as the line player, you have to know. And as soon as you find this shameful too, that Kunimori is not there, so that's helpful too.
Something to think about for newer players is walking through your opponent's province lineup. So like if you flipped all 4 provinces and they're a keeper role, you can deduce what their box province is going to be by looking at the elemental types of each province.
As of this stage in the game, mostly because most provinces suck. It's something important to keep in mind.
If all your
It's
opponent
like
has left is a water, right? If all your opponent has left is the water province, you know it's going to be rally because there's nothing else playable in water.
So let's talk about, before we see this conflict play out, let's see the potential lines of play here, since there's potential.
Oh, are we paused right now?
Yeah. So he favorables in the Gunso.
Oh wow, he's actually going for the mill break because he didn't block.
Yeah, I mean the fan here maybe.
Yes.
It's at
Well, that's it. Like
it's at 4 and it's a 5. Yeah, I mean
he loses to display here if he doesn't break. So I think he has to at least attempt to. And again, he's got the Crone in hand. He's got the fan. Like there's a very real possibility he breaks.
The Crone actually prevents you from losing because he's on 2 fate. But otherwise, yeah, you're just straight dead.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Crone here is actually crucial, and I'm unsure that.
Well, you can't get displayed while your box is being broken, right?
No, that's
but
correct.
he's saying
he's
he
talking
has
about
to,
if you miss.
Yeah,
right.
If he didn't favorable somebody in an attempt to break, then he's really chancing just getting hit by display.
Sure. I actually like to just go for it.
Yeah, no, I think going for it's the right move.
You've got enough
other cards on board right now. Like he has the potential to just break militarily, anyways.
I mean, you have to defend the crackback though.
Yeah, for sure. So let's see how this plays out. I can't help but linger on that Gisei Toshi last turn.
I mean, what can Mike do here? Third Shrine Maiden.
Well, the Gunso is 2 glory, correct?
Yes. That's why
so
he is
6 being represented right now. Aegis Crone adds
at 6.
Up to 7. So I mean,
does
the Shrine Maiden doesn't save him here.
Phoenix plays. Shrine Maiden would then have to be fanned or other things like that, but Supernatural Storm onto the Shrine Maiden fans.
Yeah. Speaking of, we see Drew look at Mike's discard.
Always looking in the discard pile.
What is he? What was he using with Kyudnisawa?
He's.
Oh, he may have accidentally done so. I see.
I think he accidentally clicked his box. Obviously, he did not pass his stronghold break. Okay. Going on.
That's a GG. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Mike did not see the favorable ground. Honestly, probably tilted about last turn.
I think last turn was really like. I feel like the Phoenix had it well in hand and then just kind of
So I didn't talk about this. I had the chat up for the stream, and Mike is in the chat and said that is the mistake that cost him the game, and he just
Ah.
like brain fart mastered the wrong ring.
Yeah, I was
So-
gonna say that seemed. It seemed weird while we were watching. It also just
And
really
confirming my
punted.
suspicions, he says he just didn't notice the favorable because he was super tilted from the turn before, which is respectable.
Yeah, it's a very understandable situation. Call it a lesson learned, and that's to anybody else watching too who might be trying to glean information from this. Just always try to keep in mind your opponent's holding row or province row with holdings.
Well, if you want to talk about the lesson learned from there, it's the next turn is a new turn. Clear out the tilt, like take a breath and get back in the game.
Absolutely. Like,
Yeah,
especially against these decks like Lion and Unicorn right now, there are ways you can come back. Like, they start off so hyper aggressive in many games, and then you could just stop them from breaking your box for 4 turns and win. Like, it's very realistic in a lot of clans. You just have to not tilt off the face of the planet, because the moment you tilt into the Pleiades, you're allowing them to just win harder.
I think too, Mike's was so like his fate was so set up for that turn that once we flopped on that turn, his opponent's board was so much better going into the following turn.
Right.
Yeah,
Not
the board
staggering
state
the
was
buys. Right.
The
I
Phoenix
mean,
Splash and Lion, though, just going back to that real quick, is very interesting. As it turns out, that Know the World did a non-zero amount of work.
Yeah,
Wholeness of the world, but yeah.
Wholeness of the World, yeah, Know the World.
I always find HMT to be relatively expensive because you have to cover so many conflicts,
And you never get to pass.
and you never well.
You have
Not
trouble
never.
passing.
You do sometimes. So I'm surprised that he can make the displays work with the cost, but in this game, I mean, he clearly did. So
Least of all, displaying a water ring with no targets. That was incredible. It
Triply
worked,
so.
but-
There's very rarely fate on rings in HMT matchups, which make these expensive cards even harder to play.
that I will say sometimes works in the Lion's favor, though.
Absolutely. But
It's
I'm just saying it makes these things like display harder to play.
yeah, for sure. But sometimes it puts pressure on like more expensive, slower control decks. It's just
Absolutely,
like
absolutely.
you're buying Gunzos and your opponent's like scrambling to get 5 fate. If Mike had gone into this, knowing he was playing against Lion,
You mean the Phoenix Splasher, knowing
No.
he's playing against Lion?
the Phoenix player, if he knows he's playing against Lion, I think.
The matchups are open. You know when
Yeah.
your opponent's playing.
Right.
No, I know, but I
He's
mean,
speaking like theoretically, Eric.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
yeah, like if some people just want to play the same deck consistently. Other people like try and almost sideboard into it.
Oh, I've made my feelings on that clear.
so like that's a case where like charge might be helpful. Kunimori over Shameful has like some blow up potential with
Sure.
Prodigy, but Kunimori
Sticking
on your
Kurimori
box.
on your box, yeah, it just kicks Lion in the nuts.
So
If they're not playing Sonuri, like they probably can't break it.
Right.
And Sonuri's sort of out of favor right now. So
speaking of kind of what you said in regards to essentially sideboarding or like teching, as people say, there was actually a conversation about that recently. I saw it. I want to say it was in the Crane chat because I was a bitch for a while and I was a Crane player, and there was, I believe it was Mind's Desire and a couple others talking about it, but the consensus was, and I do believe this to be the proper way to go about things, just don't tech for your opponent. Just play your ideal deck list and just play that and play it better
Right.
than them. Because if you tech for
That's
your
how I feel
opponent,
as
you're
well.
not getting better at the game. Like, you're just teching
Right.
for your opponent, and that's... You're either trying to get better or you're trying to win more. You can win more while getting better, but if you're just trying to win more, you're not actually trying to get better as a player.
From the context of this league, I'll say as the, I don't know, I'll call myself the organizer of the league. There's no policing of it. You can do that if you want, but like, don't let me find out about it, or I will frown at you.
Yeah, I mean, for your own sake
I'll
as a
sternly
player,
frown at you.
For your own sake as a player, if you truly want to become better at this game, play the deck that you consider to be the ideal deck overall, and just learn to play it as best you can. Because teching, you are free to do so, and you're actually, I believe, free to do so in non-list locked like tournaments. But if you're teching specifically to your opponents, you're not really learning how to play the proper game. I guess it's very hard to articulate, but
The other thing too is like even if you are in favor of sideboards in other games, in the card pool is so small right now that answers to some things are just way better than answers to other things. If you wanted to check against like Unicorn and Lion, we'd all play 3 waning hostilities, and like
Sure.
you'd never lose again. But that'd be kind of dumb.
Hostilities crowd is the new meta. Damn, good idea.
Have you guys looked into like the AGOT card game at all with the Rookery?
I've not.
No, I'm not familiar.
It's kind of like a 10-card sideboard, but the problem with sideboarding in these FFG games is they make longer scale game or longer time games that normally in a Magic tournament you play best 2 of 3 and game 2 and 3 are sideboarded, but you couldn't do that in an NEL5R tournament, right? Because the game is too long as it is. So they did something in a Game of Thrones called the Rookery, which is it's like a 7 to 10 card sideboard where you find out what your opponent is playing. Like you sit down and we would sit down and reveal our strongholds to each other, and then you get to look at your 7 cards and make some changes before the game starts.
That's kind of
I'm in favor of it, most likely, as Derek said, in the future. I don't know if we need it right now, but I'd love to see that in the future because I personally, one thing I do miss from competitive Magic is sideboards.
boarding in itself is a massive.
It's an art form, yeah. You can tell the difference between a above average good player and a great player by sideboarding strategies.
For sure.
So blind favoritism here. I'm glad the Lion player won. Hooray!
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
They're
he
not
rolled
feeling...
his dice so well. Like he really hit the jackpot.
Yeah, early on, I would not have agreed with that statement, but it kind of came together at the end.
No,
so.
I don't even think he high rolled. I think he played it.
I think it was an interactive game.
Better than
I'll say it.
No, it was. It genuinely was.
Yeah.
Despite having multiple displays of power played, that card's fucking stupid. But despite having 2 of them played, it was a fairly interactive game, and things looked really fucking bleak up until that last turn, which is a huge swing. Granted, due to a misplay, so just that's one thing to keep in mind. A misplay winning you the game, you should always keep in mind that there was probably something you could have done better as a player before that point. If they had to misplay to lose, that's a very important thing to keep in mind.
But always play to your outs.
Always play to your outs, of course. I just mean if they had to misplay for you to win that game, then you should also remember to examine what other plays you could have made along the way.
I'll harken back to deck building in that there were some times in the first couple turns where Drew's hand was drastically lacking in things that have numbers, and that would have made things different. But
even at the end there was probably a solid 3-4 cards that were actually dead. They were just actually dead cards.
Very hard in this strategy to have cards that don't say anything.
I guess my final thought is shout out to players. It's tough to have other people watch your game because it's easy for us because we're not playing.
Sure,
yeah,
so
good job,
sure.
everyone.
All this is to help people get better. We've talked about that in all 3 videos we've done so far. Don't take any of this personally. Try and see it for what it is, and us helping you, and us helping the community.
I wouldn't even say it's us helping anybody in specific. It's just for it's analysis
everybody.
for analysis sake.
It's also fun, and you get to help me because I got to see Phoenix Splash.
Yeah, I actually really enjoy doing this.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Phoenix Splash at all, so it was pretty interesting to see it.
I have played against it a couple times on Jigoku, but
usually it's more honor running strategy, so it's interesting to see it kind of mixed into this military plan.
I like just the insane tempo you can get from a display in Lion.
Yeah, I think despite it being an expensive card, the opportunity to resolve it in a crucial juncture, even in a non-impactful juncture, the way he did on turn 1.
Yeah, we did not see the true
impact,
power,
but it actually did matter. It mattered the next round that he had that Water Ring. That Ikoma Reservis was just a 3-1. It forced a Cloud immediately.
Sure.
So.
And I mean, it warps the Keeper of Water's turn.
Yeah, completely. But that's about it for this one. We ran a little bit, but it was good to get the extra talking in.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, Derek.
Hey, no problem. Lion players are
Thanks
cool.
a ton.
Yeah, for sure.
Lion players are pretty cool. Anyways, signing
Hang in
off.
there, Lion players.
Hang in there. You guys are doing just
All
fine.
right.
Don't listen to him. And remember, always be crabbing.